Felt like the church has really shied away from politics, and it's wrong. God owns it all, whether people believe that or not, it doesn't matter. And I found out that you don't even have to have a 501c3. Churches are automatically tax exempt. So what are we worried about losing? And if it's up to me, I would give it up to serve God, and I think we need to be in the middle of all that. So amen. Let's go to God in prayer. Father, lead us today. I pray that you would be honored in all that we say and do. I pray for protection and safety. I pray for wisdom. Lord, your word says if we lack wisdom, we're to ask, and you would give it liberally. I thank you for this great country. I thank you for our flag and all that you've done and all the people that sacrificed for us to be free. I ask you right now to be in control of this meeting, and it would bring you glory and honor. I pray for each person here today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Hello, North Carolina. Wow, I'm loud. I just want to say thank you. I know many of you have driven 45 minutes, an hour and a half to be here. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Now, what you don't know is a month ago, that little old woman right there, Miss Sue Butcher, called me on the telephone and said, "Scott, you want to come to Raleigh?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And a month later, after being in Pittsburgh and Connecticut and Williamsburg, now I'm here with y'all because we've got some work to do. I'm here for 3 reasons. I want North Carolina to vote for Trump in 2020. I want to defend our Republican Senate seat up for election in 2020. And I want to defeat Democrat Governor Roy Cooper. That's why I'm here. And just so you know, I'm even staying in Sue's RV. And she invited me into her home using her shower, so thank you for the hospitality. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I'm a complete stranger, you don't know me. So I'm going to go over today how we can ensure that North Carolina goes red in 2020. And it's up to us. This is a battleground state. The Democrats are fierce. They are ferocious. What are they willing to do? They're willing to lie, defame us, call us racist. They will play every trick in the book to win. And 2 Democrat mayors were just arrested this last week for voter fraud. So I'm here to tell you, they will cheat in 2020, which means that we need to have an overwhelming force of Republicans voting. With that being said, this is the voter registration guide that I've sent out to hundreds, if not thousands, of patriots across the country. And the coolest thing for me, for those of you who may not know me from Twitter, I did dedicate 2 years of my life to defeating Hillary, and I have a really large platform on Twitter because of that. I get messages from people every single day that say, "Scott, I just registered 10 new voters. I registered 5 new voters. I registered 2. It's just cool to see people coming together, making sure that we're getting out the vote. So, let's focus on Virginia. Virginia was once a reliably Republican state that voted for George Bush in 2004. Did you know that? Well, what did the Democrats do? Going into 2008, the Democrats registered 283,000 new voters. And they have radically shifted our state from red to blue. Look at these numbers. I want you to always remember these numbers. 1.7 million, 1.9 million. So Bush won 1.7 million votes in 2004, winning the Commonwealth of Virginia. Awesome. But look at 2008. The Democrats went from 1.4 million to 1.9 million. More importantly, look at the Republican numbers. Bush, 1.7, 2004. Fast forward 4 years. We have McCain, 1.7. Flatline, stagnant, didn't move. Let's fast forward. Let's go to 2012. Barack Obama has won the Commonwealth of Virginia again with 1.9 million votes. Can anybody tell me what the Republican lost by? 1.7 again, right? Let's fast forward to 2016. Hillary Clinton has won the Commonwealth of Virginia with what? 1.9 million votes. What did President Trump lose by? 1.7. It's a travesty. 12 years went by. 12 years in the Commonwealth of Virginia with no growth in the Republican Party, no voter registration. What are we doing? We have to be activists going out registering voters like the Democrats do, flipping blue states to red, not red states to blue. So this is just a funny meme of Jeb Bush, who's so low energy. But no, so my prediction, I'm not a magician, I don't have all the answers, but I'm telling you right now, unless we start registering new voters, Trump will lose Virginia. Trump will lose Virginia, and Kamala Harris or Mayor Pete or 1024th Elizabeth Warren, she will win the Commonwealth of Virginia with 1.9 million votes. 2020 Senate map. So, right now, Republicans control the Senate, which is great, you know, with the exception of a few rhino Republicans like Mitt Romney, well, I'm not going to say that. And we have a 53 to 47 majority, right? So, we have to keep control of the Senate at all costs, no matter what, because we have federal judges on the line. And we have, I hate to say it, and I would never say anything malicious, but two elderly Supreme Court justices, Justice Breyer and Ginsburg, right? So whoever becomes president in 2020 will likely get to nominate 2 additional Supreme Court justices. And how does it work? The president nominates, the Senate confirms. So we have to keep the Senate to make sure that we are keeping our constitutional rights. So there are, 6 vulnerable seats that Republicans have to defend. We have 22 to defend, but really the most vulnerable are Arizona, where Martha McSally just lost. She's running for re-election in a state that she lost when Republicans voted for Governor Ducey, but then voted for Kristen Sinema by 200,000 more votes in Arizona. So Arizona, we have to do voter registration. Colorado, in 2014, Cory Gardner was elected as a Republican in the state of Colorado. Colorado traditionally votes Democratic in presidential elections. He's probably, in my opinion, the most vulnerable Senate candidate going into 2020. Now, Brad Parscale, the campaign manager for Donald Trump, he thinks Colorado is flippable. He thinks Minnesota is flippable, New Hampshire, which is good, but that means we have to put in the work, and that's why we're here. Iowa has Joni Ernst, who's wonderful, but Iowa voted for President Obama twice. This is not going to be an easy state to win by any means. And Republicans elected a Republican governor in Iowa in 2018, but again, we can't take anything for granted, nothing. Because up here, you'll see in a second, Alabama, they elected a Democrat senator. So we can take nothing for Georgia. They almost elected socialist Stacey Abrams. Come on. Georgia is becoming a purple state, which should scare the heck out of you. And Georgia is vulnerable. Now, Stacey did say she's not running for re-election, which is good for us. She's not running for re-election to the Senate. I think she would have been the strongest, biggest competitor, so it's a gift that she's not running. Maine, Susan Collins. I know a lot of us don't like her, however, I give credit where credit is due. She voted to confirm Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And I give her huge credit for that. I am a Tea Party Republican. I am as conservative as it gets, but I give credit where credit's due, and I don't know about y'all, but for me, the worst Republican is better than the best Democrat. Sorry, not sorry. And last, North Carolina. Now, y'all have a difficult problem called Tom Tillis, and the reason why I say that is look at how he was wavering with supporting President Trump's national security emergency, right? And it was because of y'all. that you made phone calls, that you posted on social media, that you told him, look, you better vote for this, otherwise your butt is out of here, right? So we have to continue to put pressure on these lawmakers, because the fact of the matter is they have all these special interest groups, and many of them, I hate to say it, quite frankly, are spineless. We have to put pressure on them because they do not own us. They work for us, not the other way around, and they need to be reminded of that consistently and constantly. Now, this is not all bad news. If you look up here, there are 3 vulnerable Democrat seats that we can flip from blue to red. And the biggest one is Alabama. Doug Jones, we are coming for your seat ferociously. And he is going to lose in 2020. I'm working with so many Alabama voters that are registering voters in their state. I'm working with so many of them. So just know, I'm working nationally. Michigan. Michigan voted for Donald Trump in 2016, baby. And, and not only that, but we have an amazing candidate, John James, who I hope runs for the U.S. Senate. John James is a great man. And look at Fiat Chrysler. They just opened up a new manufacturing plant. They're investing in 4 other manufacturing plants. They just brought 4,500 jobs to the state of Michigan thanks to Donald Trump for supporting the automotive industry. Making sure that jobs don't go to Mexico, they go to Michigan instead. New Hampshire almost went for Donald Trump. It was neck and neck. It was within thousands. They had to do a recount. Kelly Ayotte only lost her Senate seat by a couple thousand. I call it the stolen Senate seat. New Hampshire is not a blue state. They just elected Governor Sununu for re-election, who's a Republican in their state. And look at some of these for a second. Massachusetts, super blue. They have a Republican governor. Vermont with Bernie Sanders has a Republican governor. Ohio, Florida. Some of these states that people say are blue or purple actually have good Republican leadership. We just got to get our people inspired to get to the polls, and then we win. And like I said, Minnesota, that blue one at the top, Minnesota almost went for Donald Trump in 2016. It was neck and neck. And listen to this. In Minnesota, you can register to vote on Election Day. It gets worse. You can not only register to vote on Election Day, but let's say that Sue knows me, right? I live in Sue's precinct, but I don't have proof of residency. Sue can vouch for me and 7 other people in the state of Minnesota without me showing ID or proof of residency. So just think, we almost won Minnesota despite all of those factors against us, which leads me to believe that Donald Trump did a lot better than people are saying he did. But that's just me. So, I'm a big pictures guy. I'm all about pictures, videos, because we are visual creatures, right? And it's just more fun and exciting if I'm able to share a story with you. Each one of these pictures I've chosen because it shares a story. Many of you know I stand on a street corner almost every single day. I've become the weird guy. I have become the weird guy with a loud horn yelling at people on a street corner. But I go out there and my sign says 3.6 million black kids in poverty. Why do Democrats choose illegal aliens first? And I'm just trying to explain to people, I'm compassionate, I'm humanitarian, but my allegiance is first to the American people. My allegiance is to our veterans and our communities that are suffering and struggling to get by here in our country, that are citizens. My allegiance is to those people. And so the reason why I said that is this photo in the left-hand corner. This would have never happened if I had not gone out with my sign, because at first, I had a crowd. Oh my gosh, I had a very antagonistic crowd of people. And they wanted to know, what the heck am I doing? And I explained to them exactly like I just said to you. My heart is with us. I want to put us first. And at the end of it, look, we're taking a freaking selfie together. We're having a great time. And the 2 ladies that are twins, the ones in purple and black right there, they invited me to a majority-minority neighborhood to do voter registration. And I said, yes, ma'am, I promise I will be there. And you bet your bum, I did keep my promise. I did go out to the neighborhood and I helped register voters. But again, this would have never happened. We change hearts and minds by putting ourselves out there. While you all are wonderful people and I love being here, I'm preaching to the choir only so that you guys will then go out as seeds and plant other seeds in other people, right? Because if I only go to Republican events and women's events, I'm talking to people who agree with me. I need to go talk with people who don't agree with me, right? And we need to articulate our vision, articulate our message, because we do have a great winning America First message. We really do. I just think Republicans don't understand how to best effectively communicate. Second picture. This woman right here has not voted since like 1960, Lord have mercy. And we set up a table outside of Taste Buds Popcorn in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And we were just talking to people, getting out the vote for President Trump, registering voters. She was so inspired by President Trump's running, she signed up with us to vote again, not having voted for 40-something years. Wow. That would have never happened. Like Jeb Bush said, please clap. So, that would have never happened had our buds not been out there setting up a table, interacting with the community, going after votes. The Democrats go after votes. They will go after everything with a pulse or without a pulse, right? so see what I did there? That's right. Third photo. Woman in the front, Kristen. I met her at a Starbucks because in my community, I run with the sign on my back. I know it's really weird, but I run with the Trump sign while I'm doing exercise because I like to get out the vote. So I'm at Starbucks and she turns to me, "You're the Trump guy, right?" We became friends. She became an activist. She's been over in my home for board game nights, right? I turned a stranger into a friend. I turned a stranger into a Republican activist simply by being me. Jared and Robert. Robert was one of my interns. Look at us. We're at the beach. We're handing out Stop Hillary bumper stickers to people. True story. Having fun. So activism, this can be a fun thing. This doesn't have to be work. I enjoy what I do, and I think I come across with such passion because truly, this inspires me. I'm making a difference. That's why I love the work that I do. Bottom left-hand corner, like our pastor, that man back there, we had a wonderful pastor at this church allow us to register voters at his church. And what I suggest is every single one of you, ask your pastor, can I set up a nonpartisan voter registration drive? Now, they don't all know the trick that you know about, they're already 501c3, but just to be respectful, because so many pastors are afraid. They are. They feel that they can't preach from the pulpit, even though we need to be. But that's pastors, respectfully, may I set up a nonpartisan voter registration table after service and just make sure that people are registered to vote. I'm not going to be pushing Republican, I'm not going to push Democrat, and I always say that asking is a lot like dating. Okay, so the worst they're going to say to you is no, you move on to someone else, that's fine. No big deal. Okay, there are 300 million people, I'll move on. This middle photo, this is Bailey. Bailey and I would register voters outside of the library. Contact your library, ask for permission. Can I set up a voter registration table? And you don't gotta do this all day. Set an hour, okay? I'm gonna go out Saturday from 12 to 1, register voters at the Fuquay Arena Library and see how many people I can get registered to vote. And if it's not a good location, go somewhere else. Y'all got a lot of beaches here in North Carolina. I'd be going to the beach. And last photo. College campuses. This is Tidewater Community College in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Here is a young woman registering to vote, and here's how easy it was in 2016. I'd literally go up to people, I wouldn't say hi, I wouldn't say how you doing, I wouldn't say I'm Scott, I'd just say, how do you feel about stopping Hillary Clinton? And they'd be like, heck yeah! And I'd say, great, are you registered to vote at your current address? They'd say, no, I can register you to vote right here, right now. So it's a little bit different now that we don't know who the Democratic candidate is yet. And it's ironic because now they can do it where they go, how do you feel about stopping Trump? But that's the nature of the beast. Where to register voters? My motto is go where the people are. Wherever people are, that's where you need to be. And look, it's hot outside, it is nice. Where do you think people are? They're gonna be at parks, beaches, fairs, festivals, rodeos. You wanna be wherever people are. Up here I have gun shops and gun shows. I will say the majority of people who are Second Amendment supporters are probably already registered to vote. So if you do go to a gun shop or gun show, make sure that you have a petition form so that way you're collecting data so I can say, hey Sue, I met you at that gun show. Will you come register voters and knock on doors with me in Fuquay Arena? And she'll say yes, hopefully. Churches, okay, I went over churches, asked for your pastor or rabbi for permission. And here's just a selfie of us holding up all the voter registration forms that we did. Make it clear that you are not pushing a political agenda. Materials needed. This is what my car used to look like. My car no longer looks like that. It is very messy. But notice, I've got pens, scissors, clipboards, voter registration forms. You never know what you're gonna need. I also include thank you cards. And the reason why is thank you cards are they're not used anymore, right? Nobody does it. Nobody does a handwritten card. And I'll tell you a quick story. It was in Virginia, down in the Norfolk area. I knocked on a Democrat door's home, and he was a teacher. And teachers, as we all know, except for the one that's here, I think you're a teacher, right? Are usually Democratic. And I asked for his vote. After I was finished asking for his vote, I came back a few days later and I wrote him a handwritten thank you card. Thank you so much for your time. It was nice to meet you. I hope to earn your vote for our candidate in November. And a couple days before the election, I knocked on his door again. So I knocked the first time, I did a thank you card, and I knocked a third. When I came up to the door, he answered. I said, do you remember me? He said, yes, sir, you're the nice young man that wrote me a thank you card, and I want you to know that I'm voting for your candidate. So I was able to flip on the phone. It shows you hard Democrat. I flipped a hard Democrat to vote for a Republican simply by being genuine, authentic, thankful. I believe that we need to put more gratitude in our attitude, and that's how we need to live our lives. Several clipboards you need for voter registration. Voter registration forms, where do you get them? Type into Google, Fuquay Arena Voter Registration Office. You go to the office, you pick up forms, boom, you got your voter registration forms. Sign-up forms, what is a sign-up form? Sign-up form basically has first name, last name, email address, phone number, social media, whatever that you need to stay in contact with that person so you can turn, like that girl Kristen I met at Starbucks, a stranger into a friend and activist. That's what we're doing. We're turning strangers into activists. Table and chairs. If you really want a table or chair, or for medical reason, whatever, that you need it, that's perfectly fine. I usually, even though we are Republicans that love our walls, I think that a table is kind of a barrier, and body language is very, very important. You don't even realize 90% of communication is body language. We tell each other so much about who we are simply by how we stand, talk, etc. So if you have a table, my suggestion to you is stand in front of the table. Please don't be one of those people that I come up to the fair and y'all are like sitting down, looking bored as hell. like, you know what I mean? We need to be engaging and excited, because even if there's a Democrat or an independent voter, if they see our enthusiasm and how on fire we are for our president, that may light a fire in them that they may be like, okay, I want whatever these people are drinking, eating, whatever they're on, I want it. That's what we want to do. We want to inspire people, motivate, excite, enthuse. How to approach a voter. So, here is a beautiful picture of me hugging a woman at the Walkaway, DC 1st March, and I'm a big supporter. I'm working hand in hand with Brandon Strzok. He's a great guy. I know him personally, and honestly, truly genuine, truly what you see on TV. He's the real deal. Now, you don't approach a voter like this. I just thought it was a cute picture. So don't go around hugging people because then they're gonna think you're Joe Biden. And that's not good for anybody. I need from the audience a volunteer? Yes, sir.
Alex.
Oh, Alex.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, now I will say, I have known Alex. A round of applause for this gentleman. I've known Alex for a couple years now, and finally I'm here in North Carolina with you. This is great. Thank you. So we're gonna do, I like role playing, so you can see how to talk to a voter, because I assume many of you have never done this, and probably going up to a random stranger talking about politics makes you like clench up inside a little bit. A couple different scenarios, right? So I've got my clipboard, and I've got my voter registration form and my pen. I'm good to go. And Alex is out enjoying his day. I'm gonna ruin it. And Alex is out enjoying his day. So the first scenario is you are a die-hard Republican, but you are not registered to vote. Okay? So I'm gonna go up to him. He's at the beach. How do you feel about securing our border?
Very much for it.
Awesome. Are you registered to vote at your current North Carolina address?
No.
Great. Boom. And I usually say I can register you to vote in 2 minutes flat or less. You know, make it like, this isn't gonna take forever, I only need like a second of your time. And then also again, body language. I'm effectively communicating him by aggressively but nicely asserting my clipboard over into his space. Because most people are agreeable in nature. They'll do, if you offer them something, they'll take it. That's just the humanity. We need to use those factors to our advantage in registering voters. First one you did perfectly. Scenario 2.
Well, you didn't sniff me.
There you go. I gave him space, okay? Scenario 2. You are a Republican, but you are already registered to vote. Okay? How do you feel about supporting our men and women in blue that put their lives on the line for us every single day?
Well, I'm definitely with it, but there's a lot of complications on that. They mostly say that.
Okay. Are you registered to vote at your current North Carolina address?
Yes.
Great. Will you sign my petition that I'm going to deliver to our congressman supporting the men and women in blue?
I'll take a look at it, but yes.
Great. Excellent. So for that one, he was already registered to vote, but I didn't want to lose that contact. I want to make sure that I'm getting his first name, last name, email address, phone number, so I can turn a stranger into an activist. Now, this third scenario, you see how it says up there, disagree? I want you to look at Alex. Look at this young man right here. Pretend that he is a Stacey Abrams loving 1024th Elizabeth Warren supporting socialist open borders giver.
Gotta walk around with your hand on your face.
Okay, so just that's the preface. So I'm gonna come up to him. Hi there, how do you feel about securing our border?
You're a racist.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great day. And then I'm gonna go away. So, thank you, good job. Round of applause, please, for Alex. Those are the three scenarios that you're gonna see, right? And so I look at body language, and if that third happens, it's gonna be up to you whether you want to engage or not engage. We don't wanna be confrontational. Like for example, if somebody came up to me and they said, are you going to vote for Joe Biden and not Trump in 2020? I'd say, heck no, I'm voting for Trump. So they're not gonna convince me, right? They would waste time, a valuable time that they could be talking to somebody else trying to convince me when they're never gonna convince me. And same thing for some Democrats. There are some people that I'm sorry, we're just not gonna get across to them. We need to use our time effectively, strategically getting out the vote, right? So if you only have an hour, you don't wanna waste 30 minutes of your time trying to convince Sue Butcher to vote Republican. No, I'm just kidding. Make sure people are conservative. So basically, this is just explaining what I do. How do you feel about locking up criminal and illegal aliens? How do you feel about securing the border? Yada yada. So this just tells you exactly what to do for the people reading my guide. Pictures guide. Top left-hand corner. This is a beautiful picture of the Kavanaugh family. And we all know what the Democrats tried to do to them. They tried to destroy their life, the life of his wife and his 2 little girls, who forever, as they go to school, as they grow up, they will never forget what the Democrats did to their family. And this, to me, evokes emotion, right? Doesn't it to you? It evokes feeling. It's very visceral. You feel it within you because you understand that we go through the same thing every day that his family went through. Just like right now, even though Alex was joking, that's what they do. They call us racist. They call us bigots. They call us sexist. They call us homophobes. I'm gay, but nice try. And look at this picture right here. You have this black grandmother clinging on to our president after everything they say about him, and he's holding on to her. He's holding on to her hand. This is the story the media doesn't want you to see. They don't want you to know this president. They don't want you to know this man, because this defeats their narrative. This takes away everything that they say about our president. And Presidents Obama and Trump both won in part because they effectively used social media. Look, I'm here right now because of Twitter, right? And actually, can you please raise your hand if you messaged me in some form on Facebook or Twitter to be here today? That's a lot of hands. So social media brings us together, right? Social media is a very powerful tool, and President Obama was able to harness that, which is why he won, and President Trump tweeted away. And that's why, in part, he won. What to take pictures of. Pictures are powerful motivators. You see, this isn't a dig on Democrats, and this isn't a dig on Republicans, but we think differently, right? Republicans think, I think, more logically, more factually, more with our heads, right? And Democrats, I think more with their heart, more with feeling, more with passion, more with emotion. And that's not a dig, that's just, I think, how we're different. And so when we're talking to Democrats as Republicans, we shouldn't talk to them like Republicans, talk to them like a Democrat would. So for example, let's talk about illegal immigration for a second, which I think is the most hot button, important, pressing issue of our time. So if I'm talking to a Republican, I may say, 112,000, I'm just pulling this number out, don't fact check me, Democrats. 112,000 illegal immigrants were taken at the border, which is actually more than the same time last year, okay? But that doesn't evoke feeling, that doesn't evoke passion. How am I gonna win over a Democrat by just using that? So you know what I'd say? I'd say Ranil Singh was an immigrant who came to our country. He moved to California, where he married his wife, and together they had a 5-month-old son. Corporal Singh was murdered by a criminal illegal alien, and I want to know why there were sanctuary cities for illegal aliens, but not legal immigrants like Corporal Singh, a brown man. I want to know why his son has to grow up without a father. I want to know why his wife, her reward for him following the rule of law is single motherhood. And I think that makes a much more powerful, dramatic statement that will touch the hearts, hopefully, of Democrats and bring them over to see, look, we just want to put the American people first. And we think it's wrong when Americans are killed by people that we could have secured the border to protect the safety and security of the American people, right? Yes. Example, social media. Look at these young, beautiful women in the left-hand corner. What are they holding? Stop Hillary bumper stickers, right? So when I went out to the beach with those young folks you saw earlier, these went like hotcakes. We could not get rid of these fast enough. I gave over like 250 out in less than an hour. So what do? You take a wonderful picture so you can to inspire other young, beautiful things that they can also stop Hillary and be proud of it. And look at my social media post. We are at the boardwalk. Oceanfront in Virginia Beach having a blast registering voters, hashtag LeadRight 2016. So what have I done? I told you exactly what I'm doing, where we are, and I made it succinct, and I include a hashtag, LeadRight 2016. Next picture. I'm here at the Strawberry Pungo Festival in yes, there are strawberry pungo festivals. You didn't know that. There are also crawfish festivals, if you did not know. Yes, there are. There are. I went down to Texas. Registering more voters at the Pungo Strawberry Festival, hashtag LeadRight 2016, hashtag Virginia. I'm succinct, I tell you what I'm doing, and I show a wonderful, I call these gold photos. Gold because they're gonna last forever, and they show activism. They show that Republicans are not sitting at home just tweeting. We're out in the field doing something. Example voter registration plan. So North Carolina is one of the states in the nation that doesn't require any training. It is so easy to register voters here, it's not even funny. So here's an example plan. Schedule time to register voters, okay? We're gonna go out on Saturday. Pick a public location, the Evangel Church. Set a beginning and end time, 12 to 2. Ask a family and friends to help. I'm gonna ask Sue Butcher and she's gonna say yes, because that's who she is. Pick up voter registration forms from your local voter registrar. Okay, Fuquay Varina Voter Registration Office. I picked up my forms. Print off sign-up forms. Okay, I got those. Gather materials. I've got my clipboard, my pens. Okay, I got everything I need. Follow through. That is the most important. Follow through by registering voters. Then, listen to this. Input voter registration into an Excel spreadsheet. It is not good enough to just register new voters. I want to say that again. It's not good enough to just register people to vote. We have to mobilize those voters. We have to push those voters to the polls. And I mean this very respectfully, but did you notice with all of y'all, I messaged you guys, oh my gosh, I emailed you, I Facebooked you, I Twittered you, I messaged each of you probably 3 or 4 times to make sure that you would be here today by mobilizing you, right? We need to do the same thing with voters, and sometimes even more. I think it takes the average American voter 11 touches to vote. What's a touch? A touch is anything from a television advertisement to a flyer they get in the mail, to a social media post, to a door knocker knocking on their home, to, you know, whatever. So the average person needs to see 11 different things to vote, right? That means that we need to be everywhere pushing this message out to people to get them to vote. And what do you put in an Excel spreadsheet? First name, last name, home address, phone number, email. The main goal is to stay in touch with this person. So I can say, I think it was Tony, right? So I can say, Tony, do you know where your polling location is? Are you registered to vote at your current address? Well, we already did that. And do you have an ID to vote? Do you have a ride to the polls? So again, you can see it can be very complicated for somebody who wants to vote but doesn't have the means to actually get to the polling location. That's where we come in. This is Wake County. This is where we come in as the Wake County Republicans to uplift our voters who want to make their voices heard and make sure that they actually go to the polls and vote so we win and Roy Cooper's defeated in 2020. Return. I'm going to say that like 5 or 6 more times. Return completed forms to your local voter registrar. So I believe it's 30 days you have to turn in in North Carolina. It's in my guide. You'll see in a second. But you have to turn in the completed forms back to the voter registration office you picked them up from. Easy. Get it done. Don't wait. Get it out of your car, get it out of your hands, turn them in as soon as you put in the Excel spreadsheet so that way you don't lose the data. Data is everything. I think that's the next slide. Data's king, see? Data is king. It's not good enough to register someone to vote. We have to register someone, then push them. We want that data. Do not save data like social security numbers or date of birth. That is illegal, so do not do that. States that do not require training. This is just for you guys to see. The majority of the country does not register voters, have training for that. North Carolina, do 20 days before Election Day. So as long as your forms are turned in 20 days before Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, the voters that you register to vote can go to the polls and make their voices heard. States that do require training, I'm not going to go over all this, but just a visual you can see. A fun little fact is North Dakota is the only state in the entire country that does not have voter registration. Isn't that interesting? I think it's because they're so small that everybody knows each other. No, I'm serious. You think I play, I don't play around. New Hampshire and Wyoming do not allow third-party voter registration. So this what we're doing right now is called third-party voter registration, where you take the form and turn it in. So for states like New Hampshire and Wyoming, just FYI, we would do petitioning. Petitioning like, how do you feel about securing the border? How do you feel about being against infanticide, etc. Okay, states that do not have voter registration, like I said, North Dakota, recapitulation. So this picture right here is another gold picture. Look, it's amazing. We're out in Poquoson, Virginia. We have a table. We're registering to voters, getting the vote out for Trump, and it's booming. You got tons of people. People are interested. They're having a great time. That is a gold photo. So recapitulation, all you do, you go to the voter registration office, pick up the forms, go register voters, put them in your Excel spreadsheet, turn them in. That's it. And you just created new voters. And what other ways can you become an activist? So it's not the best picture right there, but one of the things that I do is I really like to trigger people by sitting in Starbucks. So I'll sit there, and the front of my laptop right there says, Trump cut taxes for 80% of Americans. And I'll sit in the drive-through window. So every single person has to see me when they go through. It's genius. And I'm not shooting my own horn, but it's pretty funny. And then you want to know what else I do? What else I do is I park my car, which right now says Veterans Before Illegals real big, painted on, at the end of the drive-through. So if y'all don't see me at the window, y'all are gonna see my car. And then if you come inside, I'm writing thank you letters to Trump voters with a whole bunch of Trump hats and everything out there. So it's really funny. In my community, I really am the Trump guy. Like, no joke. And I will say, a couple things that we don't like about Starbucks. I will say that at this Starbucks in Virginia Beach, they've given me 33 free drinks. They take care of me. They're nice to me. They've always been respectful. But you know why? It's because I've always been respectful, and I've always been courteous. And I believe that what you give, you get, right? Yep. And I think that we need to live our lives like that. They say horrible things about us, and they demonize us, and they try to tell us, like I said, that we're racist, etc. We need to go above and beyond to show that we are loving, right? And we are compassionate and caring people. And I love sharing that story because half the people are mad and half the people are happy, but I'm just sitting there drinking my coffee. Join your local GOP. That's why you're here. I encourage each of you, you must meet that woman, Sue Butcher, and make sure that she knows what precinct that you're in and that you're with the Wake County GOP. You have to join your local GOP if we're going to win in 2020. And I know it seems like really far away, but it's not. It's here. I mean, look at Kamala Harris doing all these events, jet setting around the country. Knock on doors. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow and Monday. I'm staying here. I'm going to be here for 3 days. And I'm going to be out knocking on doors with Sue, and we're going to do targeted door knocking. So if you don't want to knock on Democrat doors, that's fine. If you want to talk to just Republicans, we're going to test messages. What I mean by that is on some doors we'll say, how do you feel about supporting our president and re-electing him in 2020? Or another door will say, how do you feel about defeating Roy Cooper? Or another one will say, how do you feel about being pro-life, since they're pushing infanticide. And we're gonna test different messages to see what works in preparation for 2020 to make sure that we have the strongest GOP going in 2020. Letters to voters. So the Democrats are good, guys. You don't even know how good they are. Seriously, they are organized. They are fun. I mean, they've got more money than God, but they have this thing called postcards to voters. Have you ever heard of it? They have people across the country, like in California, who are writing postcards into North Carolina to flip your state blue. They're doing that all across the country. So I saw that was going on. I'm like, where are you, Republican Party? Where are you, GOP? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. So I created Letters to Voters, and we focused on West Virginia, Missouri, and Ohio. I wanted to focus strategically on states that I thought that we could win going into 2018, and strategically talk to soft Republicans, independents, and soft Democrats. What does that mean? A hard Republican is someone like me, where I'm gonna vote in every election. I mean, I don't care if it's dog walker, mayoral, city council, whatever, my butt is there at the polls, like at 7 a.m., right on point. A soft Republican is someone that needs a reminder to go vote. They may need that knock on the door. They may need that mailer. They may need that, hey Sue, remember, Tuesday, November 3rd is election day, right? Okay, go vote. And a soft Democrat is someone who, maybe one of these blue dog Democrats, maybe they don't like this radical socialist agenda. Maybe they don't like this infanticide the Democrats are pushing. Maybe they don't like the gun grabbing. Maybe they don't like the high taxes. Maybe they don't like the open borders. I know there's a lot I can keep going.
The anti-Semitism.
The anti-Semitism. Those are soft Democrats that we can win over. And so what we would strategically do is write a little letter, say, hey Sue, please consider Josh Hawley for the United States Senate in Missouri. Josh Hawley will defend, hey Rosalinda, I didn't see you came in. Rosalinda all the way from Virginia Beach, by the way. So Virginia Beach in the house. And we would just say he's gonna support our military, cut our taxes, bring jobs to Missouri. Boom, that's it. Please vote on Tuesday, November 6, 2018 for Josh Hawley for the United States Senate. And I'm very proud that we sent out thousands of letters. I had people who, how I would do it is you would email me, and I would email you 5 addresses to voters either in Missouri, Ohio, or West Virginia. They would purchase their own 5 stamps, that's it. They would purchase their own 5 thank you letters and 5 cards. They would mail them out on their own. So that way I was just the middleman sending them the addresses, they did the work, boom. You can feel like you did something going after 5 votes for a minimal amount of money. And I'm very pleased to say that Mike DeWine was elected governor in Ohio, so we did help. And Josh Hawley did defeat horrible Claire McCaskill in Missouri. And the only reason why Joe Manchin was reelected in West Virginia is because he knew his butt was gonna be suffering if he did not vote to confirm Justice Brett Kavanaugh, which I'm glad that he did. So little things like this, projects. I had a woman who was like, Scott, I'm a grandma in Appalachia. I'm sitting on my counter right now writing your letters, and I just wrote 5. Can I have 5 more? And I think she ended up writing like 50 for me. So it's just a fun project where it doesn't matter if you can't door knock or can't phone call or whatever. Everybody can do something. Something. I don't care what it is. You can do something to make sure that Trump wins in 2020. Community service, murals, I'm gonna go over those in a second. Become a poll watcher. We need people on the inside. Like I said, the Democrats are going to cheat. I'm telling you. Look at Brenda Snipes. You guys know who that woman is?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard some attitude. I heard, mm-hmm. Brenda Snipes tried to cheat in Broward County. They had a mystery box of ballots found in an Avis van in the trunk of the car, right? And thankfully, we didn't get Gillum or Bill Nelson. But listen to this. My friend Elisa Sarmento in Minnesota, she's lived in Minnesota for years, used to live in Broward County. This last election in 2018, Brenda Snipes sent her an actual ballot to mail-in vote in Minnesota, forwarded from Broward County. So if she were not a good, honest person, she could have voted twice. She could have voted in Minnesota in person and mailed in her ballot to the state of Florida. There is election fraud going on. We need people on the inside. We need people on the inside, eyes and ears. Also, letters to the editor. It's easy to write a letter to the editor. only 250 words. Basically, a letter to the editor is you are a persuasive statement, right? So I'd say, I want to secure the border because it's a women's issue. Kate Steinle and Molly Tibbetts were American dreamers that were murdered by criminal illegal aliens, and I support securing the border to protect women, protect children, and secure the safety of our people. Boom, you have a letter to the editor. You send it in. What's the local newspaper here? There you go. Send it in, type in Observer, letter to the editor, find out where to send it in. You can make your voice heard to a lot of people who do read letters to the editor. We need to be everywhere, literally, 365, 24/7. Community service. These two pictures are especially beautiful to me because these are my folks in Virginia Beach. Eli is a Puerto Rican American. Colleen is a two-time Obama voter turned Trump voter. How did I meet her? I met her from standing on a street corner with my sign. She dropped off her husband, came around to talk to me, and she went, oh my gosh, there are other Trump supporters here. And, and she's never done anything activist in her entire life. Nothing. And now this woman goes out on the street corner with us, with her grandkids. Now this woman is donating gifts that we donated for Christmas for Toys for Tots. Now this woman is picking up trash and Trump head to toe, all because I stood on a street corner. You never know the full effect of how you reach people and touch people's lives. Life is really quite interesting. Jocelyn is a mother. Her husband is a military man. And she became active in politics because she wants her child to have the same rights and freedoms that she was blessed to grow up with. And this gentleman right here, we were out collecting trash in a majority-minority neighborhood, decked out in all Trump gear. And this man comes over and he goes, what are y'all doing? I said, well, we care about our community here in Virginia Beach and we give a darn. And we want to show people that Trump supporters are not what everybody says about us. And he was so taken aback, he goes, I have never seen anything like this. And he wanted a photo with us. And he probably went back to his family and said, there are Trump supporters in the neighborhood picking up trash. But that's okay. And it doesn't matter if he never votes Republican. It doesn't matter if he never votes because we just touched a heart, we touched a life, we made a difference. And imagine if all of us did this all around the country. Oh my gosh, how much effect we could change. And these people are just such wonderful people that we were strangers turned into a family. They are my family. We're not related, but these are my brothers and sisters right here. Murals. So if you go down, actually, since we're in North Carolina, if you travel up from North Carolina on the eastern shore towards Pungo in Virginia Beach, you will see this mural. This mural is still up from 2016, and it says, Save America, Never Hillary. That might have been my idea. And it was just a great way to bring us together, do something fun, because what's up with today's society? Everybody's on their phone. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's busy, worried. Oh my gosh, how are you going to get people's attention? That's why I do things like run with my Trump sign, or do a mural, or go stand on a street corner, because I want your attention. And I'm willing to do out-of-the-box, fun, creative things in order to get it, right? And here are 3 military men who just were so taken aback, they were like, we want our picture. And I said, are you gentlemen registered to vote? And they said, yes, we are. Boom, 3 votes right there. We did have it at one point vandalized, but that's okay because we painted it back. That's right, you're not gonna stop us. And the news came out and filmed it. So again, it made us look good. It got, what the Democrats don't understand, a little bit about me. I've had my car tires slashed. Don't worry about your cars, you guys are fine, it's just me. And I've had a pipe bomb threat against my life. And they've just done horrible things to me, but I don't let it affect me. Whenever the Democrats do these horrible things, it actually gets me thousands of more followers on social media, so they're not very bright. They're not very bright. Whenever they attack us, they multiply us. Whenever they attack me, it actually makes me more incensed to get out the vote for Donald Trump. I'm almost like, okay, come on, let's go again. Because they're not going to stop me. I'm not going to be bullied. Letters to voters, as I mentioned, these are just wonderful pictures. Look, we had a drink night, non-alcoholic, and and we just had everybody come together. We're having a great time, a letter writing party. You can do this here in Wake County, even for other elections too. Like for example, Virginia, Mississippi, New Jersey. Let's use the Democrat tactics against them. Let's have people in North Carolina helping to flip Florida and keep it red, etc. We can all help each other as the United States to make sure that we are all staying red together. And actually, that is my last slide. That is the end of the presentation. I would like to open up for questions and answers, but first, I'm gonna ask for a different volunteer to come to the stage. One more volunteer. Yes, ma'am. And what we're gonna do now is I wanna go over a couple door knocking techniques because we did earlier voter registration and many of you may have never knocked on a homeowner and I'm gonna knock on your door, right? Okay, so I'm gonna come up, don't open it just yet. I'm gonna come up and knock, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to step back a few spaces, right? Because I want a personal bubble. I want to show, I'm already 6'5". I mean, come on, are you gonna open the door for me? I want to look non-threatening, non-intimidating, approachable. Body language is very important. So I'm gonna be holding up my literature of what I'm trying to show her with the Republican Party. Also, my sunglasses are off. I want them to be looking straight into my eyes because the eyes are a good way of seeing somebody's trustability. And my hands are not in my pockets. I want to show that I am coming unarmed, unweaponized, totally nonviolent, right? Would you open the door for that?
I'm good for that almost.
Okay. Okay, I knocked and I stood back. Hi, how do you feel about defeating Roy Cooper in 2020?
I would be the happiest woman on the face of the earth.
Oh, okay, she took it to a whole new level.
So I don't want to see that.
I wasn't ready for that. Great. Will you please sign my